So my name is Mike Bostic, and I'm a retired assistant chief from the Los Angeles Police Department, and I've just been appointed as the interim chief of police of Calexico. And I'm really excited. I've been gone from public safety for 7 years, working in the private industry, and I wanted to be a cop since I was 3. And I wanted to be an LA cop since I was 3. So I lived that dream. And I had my wife there. She was an LA police officer. She was there for 20 years. It was an awesome career. It was really a fantastic career. Rose to the rank of assistant chief, and I was the acting chief a few times in Ohio. So all of this politics that we saw here today happens everywhere in the world, every city in America. And I have 15 city council members there, so it's kind of refreshing to only have 5. Yeah, at least I can talk to them, you know. And, you know, the reason I came to Calexico out of retirement is I had the gift in the LAPD to do a lot of really challenging things about changing the corruption and other things in the department, changing an environment where officers weren't being responsive to the community and those kinds of things. And I was able to do it and still create a positive atmosphere and treat people with respect in the process of doing it. You know? There's a tendency in public safety to kind of use the hatchet approach and just go kill people, make life miserable. And to me, if I have to do that, I'm not very good at what I do. So my goal is to come in and work with my officers and deal with the things I need to deal with, start implementing standards that people have to respond to, and just kind of bring the department back to the basics of policing, get them the training and equipment they need, and believe me, they will thrive in that environment because we all like structure, and police officers really like structure. They want to know where the line is drawn in the sand, and they already know. And we've had many conversations in the last 2 days already, and they appreciate someone that draws the line in the sand and says, these are the rules, this is the way we do business. Well, my message to the community and the youth in particular is, you know, I know unfortunately because the youth, you know, are usually the most volume of where crime comes, so you have probably the most contact with police. And we're not always going to do it. But darn it, we're going to work very hard to start treating everybody with respect, including each other. In the police department, we have issues where people don't always treat each other with respect. And we can still do our job of policing and give people their dignity in the process of doing it. And I'm going to demand it. And it's going to take time. But I believe my officers want to do the right thing. And when things come up, I hope that people will come and say, hey, would you look into this for me? And I promise to do that. Because, as I mentioned in my speech, I want to keep everything in the light. I don't want to hide anything from the community. And I know the police officers have more impact on the youth than any other group in the city in the day-to-day way we operate. Because, unfortunately, youth are responsible for most of the crimes. So I know a lot of time that kids get, you know, just feeling like you're getting accused of a crime and all of that. And hopefully we can do that in a very professional manner. And when we don't, we need to learn to apologize, dust ourselves off, and learn to treat people well. So I'm willing to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Ni que vengan a aumentarles el sueldo, porque no necesitamos un chief que venga a hacernos reír. Necesitamos policías que vigilen la ciudad, que miren por nuestro bienestar, por nuestra comunidad. Nosotros de la tercera edad necesitamos seguridad. ¿Por qué esas personas que estaban voluntarias las terminaron? ¿Por qué? Porque no les hacía el favor de hacerles el trabajo o aplaudirlos o reírse por sus chistes. No, señores, no se les olvide que Calexico no es de 2 personas, es de una comunidad entera que así como los puso, los puede quitar. Porque ustedes hacen decisiones que no le toman parecer a la comunidad que es la que afecta, que es la que paga impuestos, que es la que paga sus sueldos, que es la que paga esa cantidad tan grande que ustedes como no la pagan, no salen de su bolsa, nomás ahí están apuntando a gente. ¿Por qué tienen que traer gente de afuera?
Ya son 3 minutos, señor.
No me importa, no me importa.
Son 3 minutos y tenemos muchos.
Tengo derecho de decirles que no sirven para nada. Y eso no me importa. No me importa.
cortarse porque son las reglas aquí, señora. Como usted quiere que seguimos las reglas, usted tiene que seguir las reglas también. Por favor, cierra tu comentario, por favor.
Por favor, pero no me cansa todo el día para decirle que son unos corruptos.
Gracias, señora Juárez.
Mr. Moreno, I noticed we not have an interpreting service.
Special meeting.
That doesn't matter, so we have to have an interpreter. And even last regular meeting, we didn't have it either.
Right.
Is that another way to silencing the community?
I don't know, Mr. Kim.
¿Y por qué no tiene servicio de cortarlo sin nada de eso? La gente no quiere saber, no quiere escuchar lo que pasó aquí.
My point to address this council tonight is to address the fact that I don't know what your decision is going to be tonight, but what I can tell you is that I've seen the city manager taking our city forward. I don't like that. I believe that the decision to bring in Chief Bostic is also a good one. And I think it would be good for all our community. I think I can speak for myself only, but I know that as a citizen and as a longtime resident of Calexico, I can tell you I'm tired of what goes on in these chambers. I'm tired of people feeling and sharing that they don't feel comfortable in their community, that they don't feel comfortable in their skin, that they're looking behind, over their shoulder, feeling afraid. And that shouldn't happen. I come from a family where there's law enforcement. My brother-in-law was in law enforcement. I've got two brothers-in-laws, one in Chula Vista. They both started here. In fact, one of them was a chief here. I got nephews that are in Border Patrol. I've got a grandniece that's an MP. So I respect law enforcement. I worked closely with them also when I worked with the school district. I value law enforcement. But when it becomes, the process becomes tainted, it hurts everyone, and everybody gets painted with the same brush. I think we all want the same thing for our community. We want positive, we want peace, we want to move forward. Please take us forward. Don't be violent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera.
Mayor and City Council. First of all, this is like a two-part meeting tonight. We have sitting in front Calexico's finest. I've always said they keep us safe and we have a good police force. Pompeo is a friend. I like friends, I like them, and I respect them. But it is time for a change. And the City Council needs that change. And I've heard Mr. Bostic's trajectory is impressive. What the hell are you doing here? Bill, it's an honor to be here. Well, thank you. Thank you. We need you. In the past 12 years, we've been over 10, 11 city managers. And none I've seen with the skills of this man. He's a man that gets things done. I call him on the phone, he picks up the phone. I set up a meeting, he's there for the meeting, because that's the way you run business. And City Council, Bill, you have a big, big thing in front of you today. Your decision on hiring or keeping our city manager and continuing our city. I like all the people. This is Calexico. ¿Qué chingados estamos haciendo? Why? You know, let our city manager run the place. Council give them direction. Let our chief keep us safe. That's what we need. And please, don't let any special interest group or anybody push it. Mr. Kim, you know, you laugh. I have respect for you because really it took courage to run. But you need to understand the guy that's not in front of you. You don't have a clue of what's going on. Mr. Warren, thank you for taking Calexico in the direction you're taking it. Chief, please, you have the best people here. Take them in the direction you need to take them. Thank you.
I'm here to remind the council, especially the three amigos that called this meeting. You work for us. We, the citizens, voted to put you in office. Mr. Hodge at the last meeting last week said, I am a union man. I am with the union. I support them. No, Mr. Hodge, you're supposed to support the citizens who elected you, not the CPOA. You all three have asked to fire this man. This is the 4th time since July. Get your shit together, people. We do not want you to get rid of him. He's doing his job, let him do his job.
Yes.
Mr. Moreno, you want to know why you want to get rid of him? Mr. Castro has his buses. He needs inspections. Guess what? He doesn't have the puppet Tavares anymore to pass them. He needs to get rid of Warne to put in somebody's house to fire the police chief so he can get somebody in there to pass his buses. Oh, I'm sorry. Your son's buses. Okay? Mr. Hodge, I heard you got a substantial amount of money for your now election. The CPOA was not endorsing you, and the rumor on the street is, I heard the rumor, allegedly, that you're getting money so you can vote this man out of office. Let's see how you vote tonight. We will know if it's true, because you support the union. You support the CPOA. You do not support the citizens. Well, we are not going to support you come November 4th. You, sir, are done.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council and audience. I'm Carta Flores. I live on 62 Amelia Drive, and I'm only here to remind each and every council members why you're there. Why are you there? It's not because the CPOA voted for you. It's not because the sergeant voted for you. It's not because the chief voted for you or the lieutenant. It's because the residents of Calexico voted for you. Remember that. It's because that grandma, that grandpa, that mother, that father, the son and daughter voted for you because we trusted in you, we believed in you for a change, to work as a team. We're divided. All of us here are divided. They hate this side hates that side hates this side. What is that? We're a community. We're here to work together. I've been in Calexico all my life. All my life. And I want the best for Calexico, as well as everybody here. As well as the police department, the community, the fire department, administration. We all want the best. Us as residents. I don't work in Calexico, but I live in Calexico, and I want the best for my city. I'm here in support of our ICM, everybody's calling him ICM, Inter-City Manager. I'm here in support of him. I want you to really think about what you're doing tonight. He's done nothing but a great job. That is what we need. Why do you want to change things when things are getting done? We're actually seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. We're actually seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm here to let you know, just remember who voted for you. And we're tired. And I'm going to end this with this. We're tired of the compa system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to start off with is that we are a community. We live, breathe, and we work together. Sometimes we have to remember what brings us together is the betterment of this community. We have heard great speeches, and I say great speeches that we can live with. And I'm here in the support, first off, for the city manager, Interim city manager, to support him. And I make a let's say, something of a understanding with Mr. Hodge. I respect the gentleman. We may have had some differences, but we have a right to disagree, and then to talk about it and to work for a common cause. I'm sure last city council meeting, Mr. Hodge said that he would do what's right. If he sees a wrong, if he sees something that can improve the city, he will do what's right. And I believe that in him. In reference to this body here, we're all standing around saying what we feel, what our desires are, but we all believe one thing: we want the best for Calexico. We have heard points, we have heard disagreements, we have heard agreements. But I'm sure the city's a living, breathing institution, and the people of Calexico, including our city council, will do what's right. Because I truly believe when they ran for office, they have a high idea of what right to be, what right is. And I hope that the insight that this body carries and working together will do what's right for the city of Calexico. Now, there's some says that we're looking at special interests. Sometimes we have to protect the rights of the minority from the majority. That's part of a democracy, that's part of a republic. And I urge the city council, and I humbly urge you, and I don't try to say in a very strong way, you have to do this, or you have to do that. Humbly, I ask you to do what's right. More so, I appeal to Mr. Hodge, because basically I believe he is a man that has high ideas, and he's a righteous man. Because if I'm not mistaken, he is the swing vote, if anything is to be taken today. And I think that you can look at the man, he has a lot on his shoulders. And I'm sure this man is going to do what's right, because you can see the thought process that he's going through. So with that, I shall conclude my little discussion. And Calexico, we're all Calexico.
Thank you, Mr. Warne.
Hi, good evening. Diana Nuicumbo, 1068 Via Barranca. First off, I'd like to thank God for whatever he did for not allowing Councilmember Hodge to come here on time. That way we could listen to the entire speech that Chief Bostic had to tell us. Otherwise, Kim and Castro would have gotten their 3 minutes. And this is a kind, for those of you that haven't been to these meetings before, these are the kinds of things that we see from these two, and it's really pathetic. But other than that, I want to welcome Chief Bostic. We've been praying for over a year for him. And we got him, and we got the city manager award first. So I want to thank, you know, whoever got him here. And I want to read something before you guys go to closed session. And this is a city ordinance, and it's section 2.02.260, removal from office and its limitation. It says, notwithstanding the provisions of this chapter, the city manager shall not be removed from office during or within a period of 90 days next succeeding any general municipal election held in the city, at which election a member of the city council is elected. The purpose of this provision is to allow any newly elected member of the city council or a reorganized city council to observe the actions and ability of the city manager in the performance of the powers and duties of his office. After the expiration of said 90-day period, the provisions of section 2.02.050 as to the removal of the city manager shall apply and be effective. So I wanted to bring this up before you go to closed session. I think it relates to what's being discussed in this meeting. And just so you guys are aware, and I want to thank you know, the executive law enforcement chiefs and heads that are here, so that they were here, they were able to listen to what Chief Bostic had to say. We've been screaming this out for the last year. Everything that Chief Bostic brought up to light today, we've been saying it for the past year because it was playing out in the open for the public to view. And we brought it up to this council many times, and they chose to ignore it. So now I just want to, thank everybody for being here. The CPOA is not the problem, they're the symptom. The problem lies right here. And it lies with the two that we attempted to recall, and it lies with Councilmember Hodge. And that's just the truth, the fact. So thank you all for being here, and I hope you guys make the best decision for the citizens.
My name is Vincent Cuevas. I live in 734 Global Avenue, Calexico. I'm a lifetime resident. I think it behooves us to support the city manager in managing this border city. He came with a budget that had a vision for the city of Calexico, and I think it behooves us to support him. Mr. Hodge, you're the swing vote. It shouldn't count in this series of decisions because you don't represent the community of residents. And with the upcoming election on your seat, it stands to reason that you may not be re-elected to the city council. These are thoughts that came to me when I first heard about this meeting, and I came here to express them. I just want to support the city manager and the new police chief. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cuevas. Ms. Thomas, when you're ready.
Okay. Marlene Thomas, I think that maybe I didn't understand why I signed that paper, so I'm not in opposition. I do have one concern, and my concern was really about the process. I felt that there was an ongoing investigation in the police department, and I was just wondering why did this happen now as opposed to waiting until the report came in? Because I know probably we're spending, City of Calexico is spending maybe close to $100,000 on investigation. So that was really my only concern. I agree with a lot of things that the pros and cons of the people said. The bottom line is for the best interest of the people. And I think we have gotten away from that. We do have a divided council. And the council members, you guys need to go on a retreat someplace and get together. Anyway, go on a retreat someplace and get together and lay down all your differences and work on the things that you can, because the chiefs, very elegant, sir. His credentials are impeccable. So I'm not questioning anything. I'm gonna let you guys decide what you want to do on that. But it is important that you stop fighting and bickering, because it's going to take a long time to heal the wounds that you've caused in the city and outside of the city. Because people have a complete, it's no longer about Mr. Castro and Mr. Kim. It's about all of you. And you need to recognize your actions and your behavior reflects upon everybody that's sitting in this room. So I really hope that at some point you guys can come together and do what's right for the city of Calexico. And on that, I will sit down. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
You have an opportunity right now to give your citizens something they desperately need. The confidence and trust that you are truly representing your interests.
Excuse me, could you lower the microphone?
You have been told by your former police chief that the only way to cut overtime is to either cut services or hire more police. Some on this council have repeated that statement as fact. It is not. If you did even a little research, you would know that using minimum staffing levels as a model for your police department is the direct cause of your outrageous overtime. It is outdated, inefficient, and inflexible. Minimum staffing causes overtime. That's the reason the police unions push for it. In the past, these numbers were negotiated as parts of MOUs between cities and police unions. I hope Calexico is still not doing that. You have an interim city manager that said overtime is a management issue. He's correct. You are not experts in staffing police departments, and you have not shown any interest in researching the various staffing models used to maximize efficiency. You have, in your interim city manager and interim police chief, the knowledge and experience to fix this problem. Please give Mr. Warne and Chief Bostic a chance to show you what they can do. We need a change, don't we? Show your citizens that they can trust you to act in their interest. Thank you.
On behalf of the CPOA, we want to welcome Mr. Bostic and express our support
as long as you deliver what we discussed this morning, you're going to be fair for the board. Change, I agree with everyone, and I'm pretty sure everyone agrees that we need change. It's time for change. That change is to be all over our city, not just with the chief. Also, we believe we need a new city manager too. We do not support city manager. And change, if we can just change one little piece. I'm sorry, you're a huge piece in our department. But we cannot just change one thing and leave the rest the same. Change needs to take place all over the structure of our city. So that's our take, and thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
City Manager, Mayor Recorder, and Slants, and members of the public. My name is Johnny Olmo. I'm a long-term resident, was born and raised here in Calexico. I've seen a lot of things. Basically, I was very moved by the new interim chief, Shabastik. I believe that's correct. And I was moved by other comments supporting the new chief. But I had some calls prior to this hiring, and I owe my respects to the city manager and whomever put him on. We have an excellent city manager that did a wise job here. I'm not against anyone else. This is about moving forward. This is about shaking hands. Now, let's speak about governments. Who is the government? We are. You are all representatives that look for the best interest of the city of Calexico. Every department has a role to play. Even the police department, planning commission, everyone has a role to play. And apparently, we need to come to an understanding that that's the roles that we should acknowledge those roles. So, Mr. Warne, congratulations. Well, you're one of the best lately that I've seen.
Thank you.
I'm full support for you.
Thank you.
In closing, let me remind you a little bit. Government. We are the government. We're representatives. For the first time, Mr. Hodge went to my house because I'm starting a senior project. It's going to create grants. I'll be linking this senior project. He made reference to start it, and he went to my house. I gave it to the city manager, and he's going to do a wonderful job with it, in case you didn't know. It's going to be so different than the other commissions, or boards. It's going to be a forward. Just like young adults are retired from behavioral health, we have young adults, and senior citizens. They need to respect. So I'm going forward with this. And the city manager is going to do a great job. You went to my house, sir, because you don't know how. You don't know how, Mr. Hodge. Number two, you, along with Mr. Kim and Mr. Castro, decided to have this board, this meeting.
Please close, your 3 minutes are up.
All right, thank you. This meeting. And you are not going to vote for you. You are not going to get what you want. And that's it. It's go on and on. And Mr. Moreno, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roman.
I come here and I choose to speak Spanish so the other people can listen and understand. Buenas tardes. La razón que estamos aquí es para darle la bienvenida a un nuevo chief que no se siguió el procedimiento legal para darle el empleo. Se le dio una posición, han sido injustos en tomar esa decisión por la razón de que están hablando de claridad. ¿De cuál claridad están hablando? ¿De un lado de la ciudad nada más? No, hay que ser honestos. Esto no es correcto. ¿Por qué a los otros chiefs han tenido que pasar por un procedimiento? ¿Por qué? Y viene esta persona y lo traen. Me da tristeza ver al District Attorney aquí, que usted le dio el apoyo al chief anterior que tuvimos, le prestaron ese que vienen a darle al nuevo chief, le ofrecieron ese apoyo. No, desde que él entró, ni siquiera le hicieron un reconocimiento o algo en esta ciudad. No se lo dieron, señores. Y sin embargo, aquí vienen a hablar y decir que honestidad y claridad. ¿A quién están engañando? No están engañando al pueblo de la ciudad de Calexico, se están engañando ustedes mismos. Hay que hacer lo que es justo. Si él vino aquí porque los cogieron, él no ha hecho un procedimiento que se debe de hacer y le van a pagar $19,000 al mes, $225,000 al año de nuestros bolsillos. Por favor, ciudadanos de Calexico, enfóquense en las cosas que realmente afectan a nuestra comunidad. ¿Que está dividida la comunidad? Sí. ¿Por qué? Porque quiere seguir lo malo en esta ciudad. Ya basta. Hay que hacer las cosas que son. Aquí vienen y critican el transporte, por favor. Que vienen y critican que el transporte, ¿qué apoyo hay para el transporte de la ciudad de Calexico? Ninguno. Y ni lo va a haber perfecto. Pero sin embargo vienen a criticar. Y ese transporte, que tiene más de 40 años, nunca ha tenido un apoyo. Y sin embargo aquí varias personas vienen a criticarlo, que el señor Castro, que el Joong Castro. ¿Por qué? Porque no saben que si tuvieran el apoyo, tuviéramos mejor servicio para nuestra comunidad, que es todo Calexico, no nomás un grupo especial de aquí. Es un grupo nada más que quiere beneficiarse y seguir con lo malo. Por favor, ¿por qué no le dieron el apoyo al chief anterior? ¿Por qué no se lo dieron? Me avergüenza de verlos ahí realmente. Y le hubieran dado el apoyo a él. ¿Se lo dieron? Yo creo que no. Ustedes han venido aquí a pedir que haya más oficiales y le han dicho que no, porque el budget no es suficiente. No hay suficiente.
Thank you, Ms. Castro. First of all, I'd like to thank you. First of all, I'm here for a personal matter in regards to trying to get a report done on a issue done about procedural law, substantive business in regards to fraud in home. And what I was trying to convey today is that a lot of residents are in foreclosure, and I hold a RE license and also hold an ACQ, which is a lawn cooking operator, and a manager in ACO, which is the operator, and a C10 is electrical. 25 years experience. Also passed the exam in business law. I even think I have a higher degree than Mr. Hurtado does. I don't think he can match the skill that I have in business as far as law. And I'm going to take the bar exam, I think, the next couple of months when I'm ready to take it. I passed that. And my point here is administrative procedural, which is the administrative, how you run a business. The company of the city, is it a corporation or is it incorporated? I don't know how you guys operate, but it has to do with administrative law. And the problem that I see here is that you don't have a procedure for your police officers to obey the Constitution of the United States, which I find it in due process decree, which is the written just, which is the written law, that you cannot go ahead and frisk people just because you want to. You're violating the law unless you are a nation within a nation. And I don't think you are above the Constitution. And my point is this. I need to get a report of one of your officers to submit it to the state for my claim. And if you look up the Pagal versus farmers, you'll find my name that we won $455 million against farmers. And it was all due to fraud. And I'm one of the main characters in that, and I'm the #1 claimant. So I don't know if you have a millionaire yet here in Calexico, but if I do, I'm going to help Mr. Castro, because I believe that Mr. Castro has provided service before there was even a service available in Calexico. So I don't think it's right to discredit him or badmouth him. I think it's very right. As far as city manager, well, he's policy. He follows your policy. So when you fire him, because you have a policy that you directed that you don't have, well, properly. I mean, you fire somebody because what? You don't set policy. He follows your policy. That's what he does. And furthermore, I think you should give him a chance. Because I spoke to him, he's very eloquent or light, very assertive. I think you need that. As far as the chief and the new LAPD, my relatives work with LAPD. You know, Joong just passed away. He's an LAPD. I always been LAPD. Well, as a matter of fact, Joong worked with LAPD. You know, I can't tell you what division, so I'm from LA. So what I'm trying to get at, Calexico has a good system, but Calexico needs to do a few things different. One is clean up the city. That's what it needs, beautification. The second one is just the policy. You need to set policy what police could do and can't do.
Mr. Salazar, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay, 10 seconds more.
Go ahead.
The other question I have here is that I did a report for a gentleman that was kicked by one of your officers at the park over your home, which I think that's brutality. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the council, city manager. Esther Gomez, 1205 Primavera Drive. I'm just here as a citizen, resident of Calexico, and I just want to ask the city council to act on behalf of the citizens of Calexico. Do what's right. You've heard all of us speak. Give the interim city manager the chance to continue what he has started. Give the chance to the new chief of police. Clean house or whatever needs to be done, new policy. Let them do their job. As it was just said a moment ago, it's your job to set policy. Let the persons that are supposed to make decisions as to how the city has the day-to-day running, make those decisions for the benefit of the citizens of Calexico. I just ask you to think carefully and do the right vote for the citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gomez.
I'm here to talk. To remind me here, I was in the city council from 1994 to 98, and you know, we've had so many managers, and every time we're looking for a change. You know, I left in 2006 to Utah, state of Utah, and came back because I love my city here. Like, you know, I don't know, sometimes you get treated bad or something happens, but it's a nice hometown. I love my kids here. Mandy, you know, all the kids I see them grown up. You know, me and John were kids. Back then, you know, we're young. And I like to see all the kids involved, you know. But yeah, we always have this problem here. Change, you know. It's not just now, it's been always like that the city council is not always getting in the middle of department heads. That's sad that I was hoping that by this time that had changed, and I didn't see no change. So change, yeah, there was a change. It's been changes for 4 years. And you know, I hope that maybe someday we can keep a city manager, a police chief, because we have so many of them, and everyone has a problem. And you know, until now I haven't gotten to the plan yet. I hope to see it someday, and I hope this one is. Maybe the last spring, I don't know. I may not get to see it, but maybe our kids may. Appreciate the city. I love the city. I love all my people. I'm not in any sides of anybody. I'm always friends with everybody. If you guys have differences, that's your problem, not mine. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
City Council, people here. I'm going to shift to speak Spanish because it's more comfortable for me to do that. So I know most of the people here speak Spanish. I'm just going to say, you know, on the transportation matter right now, Mrs. Alma Castro spoke about it. You know, I'm an independent contractor. You know, soy independiente, un contratista independiente para el transporte. Y yo no ocupo del gobierno, ni he ocupado del gobierno para mi compañía crezca. Y pienso que he hecho un trabajo bien, y ha crecido. Y no he necesitado de nadie, ni de ningún amigo que me regale ningún camión. ¿Verdad? Que mis camiones hasta ahorita ya son de un modelo más reciente. Gracias a Dios, pago mi aseguranza, no tengo que cambiarle placas a los camiones para no pagar aseguranza, para salvarme limpios y daños. Y pues, eso es todo. Ojalá el city manager se quede aquí y el nuevo chief of police también se quede aquí. Hay cosas nuevas para la ciudad de Calexico. Hay que acabar con esto. Ya no podemos seguir igual. Las pruebas de que Calexico CTS, que supuestamente es de Joong Castro, pero en realidad es de Luis Castro, y ya les entregué las pruebas de Luis Castro manejando sus camiones varias veces. Toda la gente lo sabe aquí.
¿Qué tiene tus
Y toda la gente lo sabe, su conflicto de interés. Y nadie quiere hacer nada. Ya es tiempo de que alguien haga algo. ¿Okay? Gracias.
Mayor, can I just make one comment?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. City Manager.
I would just like to thank all those who came out this evening to support the interim police chief and myself. Thank you very much for the opportunity to serve you. And I just want you to know that we have the right man at the right time for the Calexico Police Department. This man has the technical skills, the organization and management skills, but even more important, he has had experience in transforming organizations. We are about to make the Calexico Police Department and the City of Calexico the premier city government and the premier law enforcement agency in Southern California. We can do it with this man, and we can all do it together. Thank you for coming out and supporting me. I pledge that as long as 3 of them let me stay, that I will work very hard for you every day to protect the interests of the city and at the same time make sure that we have efficient city government, effective city government, transparent city government, and government of the people and by the people. And you have my pledge for that. So thank you very much. I sure appreciate it. And I'll even say it in español. Estoy muy agradecido por la oportunidad de estar aquí. Gracias por su apoyo.
Time for change. I agree with it. Time for change. We've been fooled by the teamwork. We've been fooled by the word of the total community. We've been forgotten word. We are not working right. If council members, if a past teamwork working very well, that highly, a very sweet speech been talking tonight for past 25 years, if they're working, we wouldn't be here this moment. We wouldn't be much this horribly retarded city of Calexico. Do you see the street parks? That is the last of the elected person and plus the administration who has the snake tongues that they made us Calexico this time. What is changing? What is the real change? Someone says real change? Real change for the face of the people doing same things? It's not the change. It's the change is now it's time for the people, community members stand up. Even you see that tonight, the city intentionally doesn't have an interpretation service. The last meeting neither. That is one of the ways to silencing the people because they don't have informed. Wake up, community. We need to have real changes, not the real changes for the politically. We have to have real benefit of the changes. I believe strongly what service to the community member that makes real power of the city growing and better cities. Thank you.
Mr. Kim indicates that we need to wake up, but looking at the public here, I think you guys are waking up. Come here in this amount of people to these meetings and have to ask us to do our job. We should know what our job is. Our job, I'm going to switch over to Spanish. ¿Por qué es necesario que ustedes vengan aquí a esta comunidad a pedirnos a nosotros, perdón, a esta junta, a pedirnos a nosotros hacer nuestro trabajo? Nosotros ya debemos de saber qué es el trabajo nuestro. Nuestro trabajo es cuidar el dinero de la comunidad. Y cuidar porque es muchos diferentes aspectos a cómo corre esta ciudad. Ese es nuestro trabajo. Ustedes no tienen que venir a decirnos a nosotros Por eso es de que nosotros corrimos en esta elección para poder tener la manera de poder representarlos a ustedes y usar nuestra sabiduría, nuestra experiencia, razonamiento y principalmente lo que es la transparencia y honestidad. Les estamos fallando muchísimo a ustedes cuando no podemos contestarles a ustedes a dónde se fue $1 millón. Y $1 millón, muchos de ustedes se preocupan por lo que son los parques, por las calles, por lo que es Downtown Calexico, todas esas cosas. $1 millón podría haber pagado muchas cosas, ¿verdad? Pero aquí no. Y aquí lo que está pasando es un problema de un cambio que fue necesario. Y no fue una decisión de querer lastimar a nadie, más bien es para mejorar. Y aquí ustedes ya fueron testigos a la persona que quiso venir a esta ciudad y querer trabajar con nosotros. Qué lindo de él querer dejar su vida en Los Ángeles y venir a esta ciudad a querer ayudar a gente que ni conoce. Nosotros aquí, como su concilio, la vez pasada, en la junta pasada, cuando vinieron todos ustedes, los señores de nuestro departamento de policía, les fallamos. Les fallamos porque la última vez que nosotros los miramos a ustedes se suponía que no le íbamos a hacer ningún cambio. Y ahora, atrás de sus espaldas, queremos un cambio. Muy triste.
Thank you, Mr. Don. Well, first of all, the new chief that Mr. Warne, he already hired. I mean, congratulations. You have a good background. I congratulate you. But it's not your, I know you're trying to do the best for the city of Calexico. You mentioned several times, and I congratulate you for that. But on the, I believe, no, I'm not believe, on 2 days ago, I heard that Mr. Warne, Richard Warne, he fired the chief of police. Guess 2 days ago. Guess what? Yesterday, I found that decision that Mr. Warne did. I'm a city council. I represent this city. And for me, it's respectable for the city manager that do not explain or call. I don't know about the rest of the member, but in my case, he called me until 1 day after that he made that decision. And yesterday, he called me to introduce me with a new chief of police. And I said, what happened? So for me, that's something very strong to think. What he's doing right now, he's making decision without follow the protocol to tell us first. Your 2 minutes are up, Mr. Castro.
Let me finish, please.
Your 2 minutes are up, Mr. Castro. 2 minutes to all the council members. Please close your speech.
Why you being like that?
We all have 2 minutes to speak. Mr. Kim, Ms. Hurtado.
We represent the people you don't let us.
You have 2 minutes. 2 minutes is plenty. I'm allowing you to close your speech. Bring closure to your speech, please.
This is the mayor. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Castro.
Again, let me finish. I didn't yell, the people yelled. This side of the people yell.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Castro. Finish.
Okay, so again, also the city manager, he decided to pay almost $19,000 a month
before, later.
You know what? You had your 2 minutes. I'm going to move on to Mr. Hodge. Where is the mayor? Thank you, Mr. Castro. I'm only being fair. I'm trying to be as fair as possible.
Thank you, Mayor. Again.
Mr. Hodge, you have 2 minutes.
First of all, I think the way that Chief Tabares was fired, and it has a right to be done that way, but maybe I'm too much of a liberal. And this is true, this is a very conservative administration, and I do look at ideologies. And I don't have to know you personally. If you're a conservative, I know pretty much the way you think and how you decide. And I thought it was very shameful and disrespectful to fire him the way he did. He was. I vacillated a great deal here. When I came in here, I pretty much had my mind made up. And 2 days ago, I had my mind made up another way. But I need to make my mind up, and it has to be independent. It has to be based on principles. Now, I'm thinking, is this a biased audience? It appears to be one-sided. But what upsets me is, if I present a position, why aren't the people here to rally in favor of, if they do care, in favor of having the city manager terminated at this time? At this point, there is nobody in favor of that. Now, as a government teacher, I have to think about, well, if this is the majority, and then the majority has to win in democracy. I wish very much I would have some help. If I'm feeling one way, to have the support.
All I can say is, there's a letter by John Shull from the JPIA, which explicitly states that we should not be getting involved in the hiring and firing of our personnel. We have hired a city manager to run the city, and I want to remind you that I am supporting him 100% and his staff and the decisions he makes. I will ask questions. I will raise concerns. But we need to move forward. Our department, our police department, was in shambles. And I hope that with this change, we can be proud of our community once again. I want to remind everyone that at a special meeting, we cannot fire a city manager. And I will not do that, but I need to remind everyone. And again, the JPIA is hovering over our heads and looking down on us to see if we're going to do the right by the citizens. And with that, I thank you very much, all of you, for coming out tonight and voicing your opinion and giving us your thoughts. A closed session of the City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Agency, Succession Agency, Financing Authority may be held in accordance with state law, which may include, but is not limited to, the following types of items: personnel matters, labor negotiations, security matters, providing instructions to real property negotiators in conference with legal counsel regarding pending litigation. The closed session will be held in the City Hall conference room, located right here. Any public comment on closed sessions will be taken before. We've already done that. 2 items on the closed session item: public employee appointment, title city manager, and public employee performance evaluation, interim city manager. I will adjourn to closed session.
Mr. Hodge?
Yeah, they're about to come back.
Good evening, everyone. We are back from closed session, and I'd like to at this time defer to our city attorney for items discussed in closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council met in closed session and discussed items A and B. Direction was given, no reportable action was taken.
And this meeting is now adjourned.